So I wanted to do like an upbeat and fun video for you all today, but I just can't. I'm not going to try and force a smile on my face today and tell a happy and funny story. Today is my father's birthday and my father passed away over 2 years ago. And today's just a sad day for me. So my dad passed away around the holidays. I think he passed away about a week before Christmas. It was very, very, very unexpected. My father was young. He always kept his health problems to himself. He never wanted to stress other people out with his health problems. My parents were separated. I lived with my mom and my stepfather, and my father and I didn't always have the best relationship. I remember when I was young, I was living in Czech Republic, so I wouldn't see him very often. And then when my mother and I returned to the United States, our relationship was not the best because he was remarried. I'm not going to go into detail about those things in this video, but let's just leave it at my father and I didn't have the closest relationship growing up. As I got older, my dad did start putting in more of an effort. My dad was a good dad. I can't say that he wasn't. He had his downfalls just like anybody else does, but he really tried his best and he was a very good person. Everybody that knew him loved him and had only good things to say about him. During the last few months of his life, our relationship was not the best. I was seeing him less and less. He was spending more time out. I felt myself losing him. Really, the only time I would see him is if he would come visit me at work. I think that what I realized after he passed away is that the reason why he didn't spend so much time with me the last few months that he was alive was because he was going through a lot and he didn't want me to see that. I remember the last time I saw my dad, I was at work and he came in with a couple people. I was just about to get off of my shift because it was like in between lunch shift and dinner shift, and I saw him walk in and I was like, oh, really? Like, my dad's coming to see me at work right now? Like, this is the only time that he's gonna come see me? My dad sits down at the bar and smiles at me and like calls me over, and I didn't come over. And I clocked out and I left without saying bye. My dad called me and I sent it to voicemail. And then I didn't speak to him for a couple months. I never really thought that what happened would happen. I got a phone call one day and I was sitting in my room and I was like, why is my dad calling me right now? So I sent it to voicemail. I didn't want to talk to him. I listened to the voicemail and it was his friend, and she told me that he was at the hospital and that he had a heart attack. She seemed a bit concerned, so I drove to the hospital and my father was in the ICU and he was sedated. I'm not really gonna go into like the full story of how he passed away, but turns out the heart attack was only like one of many other problems. We were in the hospital for like 3 or 4 days. I was his next of kin, so pretty much I was in like this battle between family members who were like all telling me like, oh, you should, you know, put him out of his misery and unplug the machine, and then other people saying, no, wait, like give him a chance. And I really just stopped listening to everybody around me at one point. I was just like, I'm gonna make the decision that I think is right for my dad. I am not going to pull any plug at all until his brain fails, until his heart stops beating. Like, I believe in miracles. The night that he passed away, I was actually going back to my house to go pick up some like pajamas and blankets and stuff because I was gonna spend the night at the hospital. So I'm on my way home and a couple of family members stayed behind at the hospital. And so I went home, I picked up a bunch of my stuff, like an overnight bag, and I began my drive back to the hospital. And that's when I got a phone call from some of my family members saying that he was going to go any minute. I just remember being on the highway just like freaking out, like, oh my God, I leave for 1 hour and he's going to die. I was in the car and there's this one song that came on the radio that I cannot listen to this song ever. Like, if it ever comes on the radio, I have to turn it off. Like, I will not listen to it. And people be like, why don't you want to listen to this song? It's a good song. I'm like, no, I can't. And it's the song Say Something by, I forget the name of the band. I don't know, it felt like it kind of related to the situation I was in, and I was just like crying my eyes out. And I ran inside the hospital. I pushed through the double doors of the ICU. I just started running down the hallway. Like, people thought I was crazy. And I finally got to the room, and before I even entered the room, I knew he was gone. So, and then I walked inside and it was so odd. I mean, it was the first time I'd ever seen a deceased person. So like, first there was that initial shock, and then it was like, wow, like, so this is it. it took me these past 2 years to really come to terms with what happened. And I always go back to that last time that I saw him. And I regret it. And I always think like my dad died thinking that I hate him or I'm mad at him. And I think what happened to me is like a huge lesson. Never leave off on a bad note with people. Even if you're fighting, always say I love you. Don't forget to give someone a hug and tell them how much they mean to you, because you don't know if you're going to ever see them again. I've got to see psychics to try and channel my dad just so I can get closure on this whole entire experience. But eventually all it took was just like me having to come to terms with it and me understanding and realizing that yes, my father and I were going through hard times during the time of his death, but my dad knew that I loved him and that I cared about him. So today's my dad's birthday, and I hope that he's partying in heaven and having a shot of Jaeger. I feel so blessed and fortunate to have my dad watching over me and as my guardian angel. I think the best way to come to terms with someone dying is to not think of them as dead, but just to think of them as reincarnated into something else. So I believe that my dad is an angel in heaven watching over me. Some people may believe something else. That is just my own personal belief, but that is what gets me through the day. Hopefully that can help some of you guys who have gone through something similar. I know one of my friends here on YouTube just recently lost her father, and my heart goes out to her. I know exactly how it feels. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. Tomorrow is a new day. Tomorrow will be a happier day. Sorry if this video was a little bit of a bummer, but thank you for watching nonetheless, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!